Marcus started investing at 25. He put $400 a month into a diversified index fund and never stopped. He did not pick stocks. He did not time the market. He automated the contribution and left it alone. Jordan started investing at 30. Same $400 a month. Same index fund. Same average return of 8% annually. The only difference between them was 5 years. By the time both of them turned 65, Marcus had $1,398,000. Jordan had $952,000. The gap between them was $446,000. My name is Carrie, and what I am going to show you today are the 4 hidden costs of waiting to invest that almost nobody calculates before they decide to wait. Because most people think about the delay in terms of the contributions they miss. 5 years of $400 a month is $24,000. That sounds manageable. That sounds like something you could make up later. But $24,000 is not what the delay costs. What the delay cost is 40 years of compounding on those $24,000 in contributions. And that is a number that changes everything. Hidden cost 1, the raw compounding gap. Let me show you the actual mathematics of what 5 years costs as investment amounts. If you invest $300 per month starting at 25 at an 8% average annual return, your balance at 65 is approximately $1,049,000. If you invest the same $300 per month at 30, your balance at 65 is approximately $714,000. The gap is $335,000. At $500 a month, the gap widens. Starting at 30 produces approximately $190,000. The gap is $556,000. At $700 per month, the gap is $778,000. The gap does not grow linearly with the contribution amount. It grows because compounding is exponential. But here is the part that most people never sit with long enough to feel. Marcus contributed $400 per month for 40 years. His ending balance was $1,398,000. The market generated $206,000 on his behalf. Jordan contributed $400 per month for 35 years. That is $168,000 in total. The 5-year delay cost Jordan $24,000 in contributions. It cost him $422,000 in market-generated growth. Not because the market treated him differently. Because the market had 5 fewer years. Hidden cost 2, the catch-up impossibility. This is the hidden cost that lands hardest when you actually run the numbers. Most people who start investing late assume they can make the gap by contributing more later. They are right. You can partially close the gap by contributing more. Marcus started at 25 with $400 per month and ended at 65 with $398,000 a month. Jordan started at 30 and ended at 65 with $950,000 gaps. For Jordan to match Marcus's balance at 65, he would need to increase his monthly contribution from $400 to $588 per month, an increase of $188 per month. That is not impossible, but here's what that means in practice. Jordan would need to contribute $188 more per month for 35 years, a total of $78,960 in additional contribution. The 5-year head start was worth $54,960 in avoided future contributions at the same ending balance. Every year you wait does not just push your retirement back. It increases the monthly contribution required to reach the same destination. If this is landing for you so far, take 2 seconds to hit the like button. Hidden cost 3, the volatility exposure cost. This is the hidden cost that nobody talks about because it is less intuitive than the compounding math. When you start investing later, your timeline to retirement is compressed. And a compressed timeline does one of 2 things to your investment strategy. It either forces you to accept lower returns, or it forces you to accept higher volatility by staying aggressively invested closer to retirement than is strategically sound. Marcus at 55 had been invested for 30 years. His portfolio had time to recover from multiple market downturns. The 2008 financial crisis, when the market dropped roughly 37%, hit Marcus at 33. He had 32 years of compounding ahead of him. He stayed invested. The market recovered. His portfolio absorbed the drop and continued growing. Jordan at 55 had been invested for 25 years. He had less recovery runway. A significant market downturn at 55 for Jordan, with 10 years to retirement, creates a genuinely different strategic problem than Marcus at the same age. The standard advice is to gradually shift from stocks to bonds as you approach retirement. But if your portfolio is smaller because you started later, the shift to lower yield bonds happens at a lower base, which further suppresses your ending balance. The later you start, the more the risk-return trade-off works against you at exactly the moment you need it to work for you. Hidden cost 4, the psychological cost of the growing gap. This is the hidden cost that turns a 5-year delay into a permanent one for many people. Here is what happens inside the mind of someone who has delayed investing for 5 years. They finally open an account. They make their first contribution. They look at the balance, $400, and then they do something they should never do. They calculate what their balance would have been if they had started 5 years ago. The number is much larger than $400, and the gap between where they are and where they could have been feels so large, so demoralizing, that the account sits idle. The contribution gets paused. The delay extends from 5 years to 7, from 7 to 10. The psychological cost of the gap is not that it makes people feel guilty. It is that it makes people feel like starting is pointless. And that feeling, unchallenged, is the most Jordan opened his investment account at 30, looked at the math, and felt the weight of 5 missed years. He almost closed the account before making a second contribution. The question is not what the gap cost you. The question is what starting today is worth. Jordan's $400 per month starting at 30 grew to $952,000 by 65. He is not Marcus. But $952,000 is not a failure. It is the result of starting at 30 instead of never. And the person who is 35 right now, looking at this same math, has 30 years of compounding still available. The cost of waiting 5 years from 35 to 40 is not $446,000. It is approximately $318,000 at $400 per month. Still enormous. Still worth knowing. But the runway is not gone. It is just shorter than it was. And shorter runway is not the same as no runway. Here is what I want you to do this week. First, calculate the exact cost of your delay. Take your current age and subtract the age at which you intended to start investing. Multiply the number of delayed years by your planned monthly contribution. Then use a compound interest calculator to find the difference in ending balance at 65. It's between starting then and starting now. Write that number down. Not to feel guilty, to feel the urgency. Second, open an investment account today if you do not have one. Not next week, today. Most major brokerages allow you to open an account. Third, set up an automatic monthly contribution before you close the browser tab. Even $50, even $100, the amount matters less than the automation. An automated $100 monthly is worth more than a $500 monthly which never transferred. Fourth, calculate what monthly contribution you would need to reach your retirement target from today, not from the age you originally planned to start. Use your current age, your expected retirement age, an 8% return assumption, and a target based on your PRIT. That number is your real contribution target. Fifth, do this calculation with your partner. The delay decision was almost never made by one person. The urgency of starting today should not be carried by one person. Marcus and Jordan both retired at 65. Marcus had wild at $398,000. The Jordan had $950 full with gap. The Jordan is not a cautionary tale about failure. He saved diligently for 35 years. He built nearly $1 million. But every year between 25 and 30 that he told himself the timing was not right cost approximately $89,000 in final wealth. 5 years. 5 decisions to wait. $89,000 per year of delay. If you are reading this at 28, you have 37 years of compounding available. At 32, you have 33 years. At 38, you have 27 years. Each of those numbers produces a life-changing outcome at a $400 monthly contribution. The best time to start was 5 years ago. The second best time is today. And today, right now, is worth more than you think. I'm Carrie. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next.